About 79.5 million people have been forced from their homes across the world due to war, extreme weather, or other reasons. Now, according to the latest figures from the United Nations High Commission for Refugees, Namibia today joins the world in commemorating World Refugee Day, a moment to celebrate the strength and courage of those forced to flee their homes and countries to escape conflict or persecution. Now, this year's commemoration also happened in the shadow of a devastating COVID-19 pandemic with increased requirements for safety, health, and hygiene. Now, to gauge the plight of refugees in Namibia and the Southern African region, we are now joined on the line by Johanna Kaukolwa, co-founder and co-director of the Southern Africa Refugee Protection Organization. Johanna, good evening, and thank you very much for joining us on NBC.
Good evening, Maurice.
So, getting straight into it, what can you tell us about the current state of refugees in the SADC region?
Well, the current refugees in the SADC region is quite worrisome, especially that we know that our countries have got are limited by resources, and as much as we are trying, we have been actually trying also to educate our communities, refugee communities, to be extra sensitive with health because they are among the most vulnerable to the outbreak, citing the circumstances under which they live in. So people in refugee camps, as we know, they are often living in overcrowded refugee camps, are at significantly high risk of becoming infected with any virus. Conditions in camps, as we know, are particularly inhuman. People are often deprived of their basic human rights, and diseases is rise. Outbreaks are more likely. So we are also having challenges of like access to water, sanitation is another, and food security. That is basically, Namibia is not exclusive to these challenges.
Right. Now, Ms. Kaukolwa, now just changing gears a bit, and of course you did allude a bit to it on health and hygiene. Now, we are in the midst of COVID-19. How has the outbreak of COVID-19 and the impact, how has it impacted the situation of refugees in Namibia as well as in SADC?
Well, the COVID-19 pandemic poses a threat to the health and the lives of people, as we said. But now the situation is we have challenges like with regulations that were put in place, mandatory by the head of the state, that people should actually put on mask, facial mask, and sanitation, and so on, of which refugees is not able to have those kind of things at hand.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, today we are commemorating the World Refugee Day, and the theme for this year is "Every action counts. Everyone can make a difference." Now, how does this theme relate to Namibia, especially during this time of a serious global viral pandemic?
Well, that simply means everyone can make a difference under the global viral pandemic, meaning everyone must effectively play a role in trying to get this pandemic arrested. Because if everyone relaxes, it is going to be a disaster for the world, especially African countries, which are synonymously with staggering resources to fight the outbreak. However, we are still actually trying by all means that everyone, all of us must make an effort, whether at health or in workplaces, or the threat of the pandemic will mean, all businesses closed down, whereby we know that refugee has been also involved in doing businesses here and there.
All right. Now,
yeah.
Finally, we are sadly running out of time, but what is your message to our viewers in terms of the importance of commemorating World Refugee Day?
Yeah. My message to the communities of the member states in the SADC region is that we should dedicate this day to refugees, meaning that refugees should be taken care of. And as we know that each year the World Refugee Day is marked by a variety of events in many countries around the globe in support of refugees, why can't we step in? Our message is just step in with refugees. Let's try to make difference to those people who are living with us. Let's give them care. Let's give them love. Because most often than not, we seem to be ignoring refugees, and at some points we actually can't even make a difference who's a refugee and who's a normal illegal immigrant. Right. Hence the need for us to learn what a refugee is to ourselves.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Mrs. Kaukolwa, thank you very much for your time and talking to us about the commemoration of World Refugee Day.
I take a pardon?
I said thank you very much for joining us on NBC News this evening.
Thank you very much.
A pleasant evening.
All right.
Now, that was Mrs. Johanna Kaukolwa, the co-founder and co-director of the Southern Africa Refugee Protection Organization, talking to us about the state of refugees amid the pandemic.